Hello, my name is Cassie Burtz, and I did my book review on An Inconvenient Truth by Al Gore. It was 300 pages long and published on May 26, 2006. This was 2 days after the movie An Inconvenient Truth was released. As many of you have probably heard of Al Gore before, he is an American politician and environmentalist who served as the 45th Vice President of the United States from 1993 to 2001 under President Bill Clinton. In the 2000 presidential campaign, he was defeated by Republican George W. Bush. Since leaving politics, he's been heavily involved in the campaign to fight global warming and even won a Nobel Peace Prize on December 10, 2007. The book starts off with an introduction explaining his passion for global warming. His interest in global warming came from his mother reading him the book Silent Spring, as well as his college professor, Roger Revelle. Professor Revelle was the first scientist to propose measuring carbon dioxide in the Earth's atmosphere. Davis Guggenheim's creative insight also played a role in triggering environmental thoughts that changed Gore's perspective. It was in response to Davis when Gore came up with the title of his book and movie. Gore and his wife Tipper decided to donate 100% of the profits from the book and the movie to a nonprofit in effort to move public opinion on global warming. And as quoted from page 10, "My hope is that those who read the book and see the film will begin to feel as I have for a long time, that global warming is not just about science and that is not just a political issue. It is really a moral issue." Then goes on to show the picture of Earth by Bill Anders that became known as Earthrise. This picture was taken on Christmas Eve 1968 during the Apollo 8 mission. And I will show you the image. It became the most commonly published photograph in all of history. And 99 times out of 100, you actually see this picture when you see a picture of the Earth. Within 2 years of the picture taken, the Clean Air Act, Clean Water Act, the National Environmental Policy Act, and the first Earth Day came about. The day after, Archibald MacLeish wrote, "To see the earth as it truly is, small and blue and beautiful in that eternal silence where it floats, is to see ourselves as riders on the earth together, brothers on that bright loveliness in the eternal cold, brothers who know not that they are truly brothers." He then goes on to explain how the atmosphere is thin enough that we are capable of changing its composition. The problem is the thin layer is being thickened by huge quantities of human-caused carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases. Infrared radiation is trapped in the atmosphere that would otherwise escape. As a result, the temperature of the atmosphere and ocean is getting dangerously warmer. Almost all the mountain glaciers in the world are now melting, and many of them at quite rapid rate. The Himalayan glaciers on the Tibetan Plateau have been among the most affected by global warming. The Himalayas provide more than half of the drinking water for 40% of the population. The hottest year recorded was 2005, with many records for city highs set that year. In leading up to that year, in the summer of 2003, Europe was hit by a massive heat wave that killed 35,000 people. As water temperature go up, wind velocity goes up, and so does storm moisture condensation. In 2004, Florida was hit by 4 unusual powerful hurricanes, and in Japan, 10 typhoons hit that year. Also in 2004, the all-time record for tornadoes in the United States was broken. Overall, the amount of precipitation has increased globally in the last century by almost 20%. While global warming produces more evaporation from the oceans to fill the warmer atmosphere with increased moisture, it also sucks more moisture out of the soil. The most dramatic impact of global warming in the Arctic is the accelerated melting. Temperatures are shooting upward there faster in the Arctic than at any other place on the planet. And we'll now refer to an image that was taken in the Arctic. It shows the largest ice shelf in the Arctic, the Ward Hunt shelf. 3 years ago, it cracked in half to the astonishment of scientists. This had never happened before. I'll show you the crack. You can see. Very strange. The land areas north of the Arctic Circle are frozen for most of the year. Some of the soil that remains permanently frozen is referred to as permafrost. However, global warming has begun to thaw large areas of permafrost. In the Arctic, the temperature keeps going up more rapidly than anywhere else in the world, and spring is coming earlier and fall is arriving later. There are now studies showing that if we continue with business as usual, the Arctic ice cap will completely disappear each year during the summertime. At present, it plays a crucial role in cooling the Earth. Preventing its disappearance must be one of the highest priorities, and that comes from page 143 of the book. In 2005, the hottest year on record, there was a massive loss of coral reefs. In 1998, the second hottest year, the world lost an estimated 16% of all of its coral reefs. The link between global warming and the large-scale bleaching of corals, considered controversial only 10 to 15 years ago, is now universally accepted. And a quote from page 196, if Greenland melted or broke up and slipped into the sea, or if half of Greenland and half of Antarctica melted or broke up and slipped into the sea, sea levels worldwide would increase by between 18 to 20 feet. Al Gore then created some images, some hypothetical images of some places that would be affected by this increase. This is what Florida would look like. And San Francisco Bay. Not much of a difference comparing to Florida. But then it goes on to show Beijing, where more than 20 million people would have to be evacuated. And in Shanghai, the surrounding area, more than 40 million people would be forced to move. Gore believes the fundamental relationship between our civilizations and the ecological system of the Earth has been utterly and radically transformed due to the powerful convergence of three factors, with the first being the population explosion. With the rapid population rise comes the demand for food, water, and energy. The second factor that has transformed our relationship to the Earth is the scientific and technological revolution. As a quote from page 38, we now have a much more profound ability to transform the surface of the planet in the same way every human activity is now pursued with much more powerful tools, which often bring unanticipated consequences. Irrigation has long worked wonders for humankind, but we now have the power to divert giant rivers according to our design instead of nature's, and when we divert too much water without regard for nature, rivers sometimes no longer reach the ocean. The third and final factor causing the collision between humankind and nature is both the indirect and most important, our fundamental way of thinking about the climate crisis. Since it doesn't constantly demand our attention, many go without thinking about it at all. From page 255, global warming may seem gradual in the context of a single lifetime, but in the context of the Earth's history, it's actually happening with lightning speed. Denial, and then he goes to quote Mark Twain, denial ain't just a river in the Egypt. We have everything we need to begin solving the climate crisis, but it starts with each one of us on what we buy, the choices we make on a daily basis, and even if the change is as minor as adjusting the thermostat and using different light bulbs, it will make a difference, but it will require effort. And then Al Gore then explains some ways on how we can make a difference, such as consume less, recycle, modify your diet to include less meat, carry your own refillable bottle for water, and buy local. These are realistic changes, and overall, I think the message that Al Gore sends through his book and movie really proves that global warming is real and it's an issue. I definitely will start making changes with my diet. I've always been strong on recycling, but really, really, you need to recycle. Buying local is a little difficult, but here in Madison, there's many places, farmers market, stores, that you can buy local, so that it is possible. Mostly, though, with global warming, it's the fact that our government and our policies in the United States are forbidding us to make changes for business, since businesses are thriving on not doing these changes. So we could also make a difference by voting for leaders that are for environmental policies. I would definitely recommend this book. I really liked how it really shows a bunch of many graphs, many images. It was easy to read, and the images are very moving. He's been all over the world, and he's really, really made his impact on me on changing my perspective on global warming. So yeah, I definitely liked the book. Easy read. It may look big and thick, and it is 300 pages, but there's like images that account for a page, but still these images really, really make the book. So if you get the chance, I would definitely recommend reading An Inconvenient Truth by Al Gore. Thanks.